Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7 Plus, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. On SEN Track, this is the best from the West.
Let's catch up now with Darren McCauley. This is the best from the West. We'll be conducting the best from the West every Wednesday morning with the great man, a man who's been the voice of WA racing for I don't know how many decades now, probably 8 decades. I've lost count. The great Darren McCauley. Hello to you, Darren.
Is it afternoon there?
Yes, it is afternoon. We are live from New Zealand as well, so well done, Cobb.
And good morning everywhere else where you might be listening. Nice to join you from down there in New Zealand, mate.
It's been a little while, mate, since we've worked together.
Yes, but I think, and this is to be absolutely honest, I think I enjoyed those 3 years doing breakfast radio here with you on the old tab radio. Was, I think, nearly some of the most enjoyable years that I've ever spent working in radio, and that's been well over 40-odd years. So we had a lot of fun. It was great. Brought a different sort of style and look to tab radio at the time, and it was really enjoyable. So I feel a bit at the moment, like I've been put into a draft and I've been picked up by another team. It's different. This is the first time that I've been into the SEN studios.
Yeah, it is a little bit different, and we'll talk about this situation. Obviously, the Sports Entertainment Network has purchased Tab Radio, and it's now called SEN Turf. And we're not on SEN Turf at the moment, and we'll be on for the best of Giddy Up, which will be on at just after 9 o'clock. And Tim Gossage and Scotty Cummings do a wonderful job with the breakfast show. So it is a little bit different. Nothing lasts forever, and Tab Radio did a mighty job. It was, I don't know, I was there for 3 years, and we hosted the Sports Daily together. And there's so much history there at Tab Radio. But, yeah, it's a new chapter now with SEN Turf, and I'm looking forward to it. As I said there on Monday, Darren, there's a lot of great people. WA racing people, they're beauties, aren't they? And I met a lot of friends that will be lifetime friends when I was in the West. And there's something special with the racing people over there. And Ascot during the Carnival, there's nothing better. I love Gloucester Park. It's my favourite harness racing track, really, Gloucester Park. There's under the...
Isn't it a beautiful...
it's the Coliseum, isn't there?
The history there.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then the greyhounds, like Peter O'Neill lied to all of us before I came to WA, saying that there's gum trees at Cannington. I never really saw any gum trees at Cannington, but it's also got a great history. I can't wait to be part of the new SEN Turf, and nothing lasts forever, as you say to me, Darren. And so, yeah, this is a new chapter, and we'll try our very, very best here.
Well, it'll be different.
Yeah.
A different way of looking at things. Instead of, everyone's tipping. There's so many tips on different forms of media these days. And everyone's got an opinion and can analyse races to the nth degree. I don't do that. Spend too much time sort of digging too deeply. I know that, with the analysts these days, they've got access to all of the great information. They can break it down sectionally. But I just wonder sometimes, how many winners do certain people tip? I always think if you can come away tipping about 3 on a 9 race program or thereabouts, you've done a fair job. You get a 33%. And that's enough. You're only here to feed them, not to feed.
100%, Cobb. And it's got a great history of the Railway Stakes. We're going to talk about a few of the hot topics, and it's pretty easy to find hot topics at the moment as we get set for the first of the Group 1s. I know the Pinnacle started last week, but this is the first of the Group 1s with the Railway Stakes. But the question I pose to you, is the Railway still the most famous race and the race that everybody wants to win in WA? Has it lost its lustre a little bit?
I think you could have said the same about the Perth Cup, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And the Perth Cup has changed and reduction from 32 to 2,400 metres. So the Perth Cup isn't quite the Perth Cup that our forefathers would have grown up with, because it was the first day of the new year, heralded the start of new chapter, new beginnings, Perth Cup, massive crowds, and then it stopped. The Railway Stakes then took over. It developed the Great Ascot Mile, type of approach, and the best right through the 70s, the part of the 80s and that, and I was just going back even to 2000, where you had Northerly. That was the starting point where he was going to launch his great national career. The following year, Old Comrade, not far behind Northerly in ability, I don't believe, except for injury, which killed him. Sniper's Bullet, Warhorse, Nashville Willer coming over here. He was a massive attraction. Then we had, the Lucky Grey years. They were interesting enough for a lot of reasons, as you know.
Yeah.
Then it started to dig back a bit deeper. Better Loosen Up launched his international career in the railway. Marwong with Jeff Murphy's stable, great horse, great horse. Asian Beau, Hall of Famer, he won it in the late 70s. So, the railway had so much appeal, so much magnetism about it there. It was the mile, it was a handicap. Handicaps have become unpopular.
Yeah.
You look at the races now that they spend all their money promoting and marketing.
Yeah.
Winterbottom Stake and Quokka for a start. Quokka, pop-up race. $5 million. Then the Gold Rush, Wait for Age, another $1.5 million Group 3 in Perth. Now, you would have been laughing all the way down to the tip years ago if you said, "Oh, yeah, we're going to run a Group 3 for $1.5 million in Perth." It's becoming a very good race.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And then I think my favourite, which is now known as the Northerly, but it was the Kingston Town, Wait for Age. All Wait for Age races are all the races that are attracting all the appeal. And sadly, races like our time-honoured, very traditional railway stakes maybe aren't just in the same spotlight as these other events. So
Yeah.
I think the answer may be to your question, has the railway been derailed as our premier race in WA? Maybe, yes.
Yeah. And like the railway stakes, it's like the Stradbroke Handicap in Queensland. It's the best race that people, when you talk to Queenslanders, the Stradbroke is the race that they want to win. And when I was in WA, and you well know, Macca, of being living there for so many years, it's the railways, the Melbourne Cup for WA participants in a way. It was the race that everybody wanted to win. You wanted to find a horse that you could probably sneak into the race at the bottom of the weights there and win a railway stakes. But now you've got like the Winterbottom, the Gold Rush has added a lot to the Pinnacles, I reckon. It's a $1.5 million race at the end of the carnival, which is an intriguing race because you've got horses that'll drop back from even a Northerly of 1,800 metres back to the Gold Rush of 1,400 metres. And the other aspect that's a challenging part, I think, for the railway is that this weekend in Victoria, you've got a Cranbourne Cup, which is over a mile, worth $500,000. And then like a horse like Sabaj and a rising star in the ranks here in Victoria will go on to an English, which is the English race, which is worth a couple of million in December. And then you've got the Gong, which would have probably taken away a horse like Gringotts. Maximum top weight there is 60 kilos. So he stays in Sydney instead of coming to Perth. So it's, I don't know what you do there if you're Perth Racing and Rawa to try and compete with the Eastern State races that are competing with the railway. But what is working at the moment, I reckon the Gold Rush does with over the 1,400 metres. And I think that the Winterbottom, when you can attract a horse like Overpass, unfortunately we didn't get Giga Kick, but and you got Joker's Grin. For me, I think the Winterbottom's going to be the best race in the Pinnacles this year. I don't know what you think.
Well, it's a race that's really started to come of age, and I think we can track that back to about 2008.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that Winterbottom was only a Group 2 race. It was a lead-up building towards the railway stakes back in the day, if you had a horse good enough to go from 12 out to a mile. These days, since the Apache Cat takeover target, Marasco, Winterbottom, it has gone to another level. There were the likes of Hortensia, etc., come along, and international class horses. So the Winterbottom's profile was lifted enormously. Mind you, it was one year, as racing can always throw up a vagary, by an old horse, 9-year-old called Haddaby Corker, who, God rest him, he was a fair old horse, but didn't do nothing for the appeal of the Winterbottom. But it really did take two superstars to launch the race. So it's relatively young as a race, the Winterbottom as we know it today.
Yeah.
But these other pop-up races, they're starting to steal a lot of the limelight. They're pulling the big crowds. You had that beautiful fairy tale of the Gold Rush and Ollie a couple of years ago. Then they changed that from a scale stakes. They've renamed another race the Scale Cup. But the scale, it was a weight for age race, sort of carry a lot of appeal. I didn't think it was a sort of a post-carnival-y type race in many ways. And then, they badged it virtually, and then they more prize money into it, making $1.5 million. And then you had the fairy tale of Ollie, which gave it incredible impetus to put a price on what he did for the race.
Do you think that it's right starting off with the railway into Winterbottom to the northerly? So you go 16, 1200, 1800, which gives those horses, usually it's the usually you get the railway, and those horses go to a northerly. You got the guineas on that day as well, which some go to a northerly. Then the Winterbottom to the Gold Rush over 1400 metres. What makes the Gold Rush really interesting is that you've got horses that are going to be competing mile 1800 back to 1400, taking on Winterbottom horses. And for me, I reckon that works. I reckon it works, Darren, and I reckon it's a fascinating concept where you've got those horses from the different form lines coming together for the finale of the Pinnacles.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I was listening to Dan Morton. I was just having a quick look here and looking at, say, Super Smith as an example to what you've been talking about. The Super Smith will go there as one of the big chances in the railway on the weekend. Won the Asian Bow, 1400. She missed a Winterbottom, obviously. Then went to the railway, ran third, flashing third. Then she went to Weight for Age of the Northerly, 1800. And she came back and she ran third in the Gold Rush behind Western Empire. So that's the pathway they're going to be going again. You can't run in the wall. Keep the Winterbottom just purely for our sharpest, fastest 1200-metre sprinters.
Yeah.
And build it that way, I think. The other races, I think they're interesting. It's a snakes and ladders type of a summer carnival these days.
Yeah. It's not a vintage railway stakes, but Western Empire is the equal favourite with Watch Me Rock at $4.20. History tells you it's very difficult to win a railway at the top of the weights, Macca. How do you read this year's race?
I'll agree with you. I think it's thinning out over the years. It's getting a longer tail to it. You've got a top weight here who did win the race, but it was 4 years ago. And the interesting statistic about the railway stakes these days, the point that you raised, is 58 too much to win a railway. History is telling us absolutely emphatically, yes. Only 5 horses in the past quarter of a century have won the railway stakes with 55 kilograms or more. And I'm written down here. So El Presidente was one of those, 55.5. Sniper's Bullet, 56.5. Lucky Grace, second railway, 58. And that was about it.
Yep.
So not many, brother.
And William Piker rides, of course, Watch Me Rock there for Grant and Alana Williams. Have got a wonderful record during the Pinnacles. They're wonderful grand final trainers. So it might not be a vintage railway, but I still enjoy the build-up, and I enjoy what it means to so many of the participants in the West. And there's not too much Eastern State representation this time around, but it's always going to be a race that will pack out Ascot. It's always the biggest day there on the first day of the Pinnacles. So bring it on Saturday.
The story will be around Willie, no doubt.
Yeah.
goes with Watch Me Rock. Big decision because he had and has had an association, of course, with Western Empire. So Billy Egan's back. Billy won the gold rush in Western Empire last year, so they'll be getting reacquainted with each other again. But you look at the record of Billy here. I know he wins most races multiple times, but when you're winning this Group 1 Railway Stakes, just how successful he has been. Going back, Elite Bell, Galaxy Star, Regal Power, Inspirational Girl, Western Empire. So I think he's going for about his sixth, if my maths is any good.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal record and achievement. And the same could be said about Grant Delana as well. They've got an absolute bag full of them.
I don't think I'm talking to Grant on Monday. I reckon, and this is Grant's words, that Willie did take one for the team with Watch Me Rock. I reckon if you said to William that you'll win $2 million if you ride the winner of the Railway Stakes and you get to pick the horse that you want to ride, I reckon he would have picked Western Empire. But as Grant pointed out, at the weights that they can get William Pike to ride that horse and they can get a better jockey to ride a horse at the top of the weights. And Billy Egan's had that experience on Western Empire. He won a Gold Rush last year. So, yeah, I think that's the reason why William's riding Watch Me Rock instead of Western Empire. And I reckon Pikey would have preferred to ride Western Empire. But it is what it is. And I reckon he's got the better gate barrier for. Is he the horse, who's the horse to beat in your eyes, Macca, with the Bet365 market for the Railway Stakes? Watch Me Rock at equal favourite at $4.20. Super Smink $7. Ozapinko $8. Cosmic Crusader won't get a start. He's at $9. And then you go down to Depth of Character at $10. Storyville at $15.
Well, if we take what we've just discussed in regards to the higher weighted horses winning the railway, so the last horse that won with 56.5 Sniper's Bullet, you've got to go back to 2009. There have been some good ones that have had a crack at doing it subsequently since and failed. So you then just take out Western Empire, Magnificent Andy, Iona Merck, and then you start with Super Smink. Start with the Lastia winner and the stablemate in good order. Just come on. And he really didn't surprise his trainer. Might have surprised a few with his run. He was a very, very good 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And they've got him right back in this place. And he's come up with barrier number 2.
Yeah.
So could he be a chance? He's got that 55 weight allocation there. It might just put him into it. Then you start getting down further and further. And, the other parts of this race, I was just having a quick look at it. The likes of the previous winners of the race, if you go back and look at Port Lockroy, Basler, Tricks of the Trade, the last 3 winners of the Railway Stakes haven't won a race since. Well, that's just unbelievable. In fact, only one of them's been placed.
Yeah.
And that was Bustler in last year's Lastia. Then you go back to Western Empire. Western Empire hasn't won too many. He did win that Gold Rush last year. Gee, the attrition rate for horses going on out of the railway, it's becoming a little bit concerning, isn't it?
So basically you're telling us you win the railway, enjoy it there on Saturday. Enjoy it. Hey, we've got to move on. So that is to look back at the Railway Stakes. Our next topic, did Stephen Wolf, did he pull the right rein with Rope Them In and bypass the Railway Stakes and go to a winner bottom on his way to a Gold Rush?
You bet he did.
Why?
Well, he had one run at 1,600 as a 3-year-old, and he had a beautiful run in the Guineas, and he loomed to them, and he didn't get a mile. And so I think, and I did bump into Wolfie after he ran that cracking race in the, what was it? Was it the Crawford or the Asian Bow? And he said, I've got a dilemma. Do I go to the railway or do I go back to the bottom? I said, I'm not the trainer, but I'd probably go back the other way. I think he was terrific in that run with 61.5 kilos on his back before then. I think just keep that sharpness in him. Just don't think he runs a strong mile. I've always thought that maybe the Railway Stakes is for horses who can run you a really good 18,
Yeah.
because it used to be a really testing railway. I'll say one thing, just go back to that subject. One of the things about the railway,
Mm.
if you start looking at the times and how the races have been run, some of them have been run ridiculously slow.
Yeah.
Real sort of drop anchors, back type mile races. Not like they used to be, but that's what they used to say it was the most testing 1600 run. I don't think a lot of the editions of the railway have been run that way over the last decade, maybe, or even more if we dig a little bit deeper. So look, I'm glad that Wolfie's gone back to the Winterbottom with rope in. I do think that given the fact that he'd run fourth in the Winterbottom last year to Overpass, it's the race for him. If it gets him to peak on the day there, he's got to be somewhere in the mix with the right barrier draw.
No, I agree with you there. I reckon he's a better chance than the Gold Rush, and I think it's a perfect lead up to a Gold Rush, 12 to 1400 metres. And
Well, he did run
14...
in it last year, G, and
yeah.
he ran. He was, I think he ran fifth, didn't he?
Yeah,
to Western Empire. He was only beaten a couple of lengths.
Yeah. So I like the setup there from Stephen Wolf. Could King of Light, as we continue on our topics, could King of Light be the best horse Dan Morton has trained? Now, he's trained a couple of pretty handy ones, Darren.
Has he ever? Let's not forget 2 horses by Scenic that walked through his yard at a pretty similar time in his training career. Scenic Shot, Scenic Blast. So you're proposing the question, could this unbeaten 3-year-old King of Light potentially be the best horse that he has put a bridle on? It's a very romantic notion, a lovely pipe dream to have. But geez, got to scale a few mountains before he ever gets to that stage. Gee,
Yeah.
if you look at what Scenic Shot, Scenic Blast did, Scenic Blast International Australian Horse of the Year, he won over a couple of $1 million. Prize money wasn't quite at the same elevated level that it is currently. But, to do what he did here, go to Melbourne, win a Lightning, win a Newmarket, go to England, win a King's Stand, race in America, Group 1 place Del Mar, race Japan. I mean, he was just a superstar. And we still see him today, as you know, in the off-the-track retired racehorses. He's popular with everyone when he goes to promotional events.
Yeah.
And then Scenic Shot, well, he won $3.4 million for Dan.
Yeah.
Same year, won 17 from 74. Won a McKinnon.
Yeah.
Won a couple of Doomben Cups.
So he's
Brisbane
got a little.
Cup, and the Melbourne Cup. So
yeah.
King of Light is a very smart horse, and I'm excited. I'm getting a bit big Kev about King of Light. I like him. I don't think Dan's got anywhere near the bottom of him, and I think he'll win on Saturday.
Okay.
And I'd love to think that he's going to be the next big flag bearer for Danny. He's a horse with a little bit of X factor about him.
So he's currently at $2 with Bet365, Rockfest at $3.50. I was listening to you there yesterday on racing.com. He's at Phoenix is a big price as well at $11. You got it down to $3, Cobb.
Yeah, I did. I think the horses that went through the Freetha are going to be the ones. I really think that King of Light can get the job done. I love his Phoenix as a horse. And the Fioris do a really good job down there. They put some polish on him. He raced the other day. He's furnished. He's strong. He'll be better for the run. And the horse that ran third, how could you not have been impressed with Rockfest? First up, he sort of took a couple of mediocre fields to task and beat them up in the winter. Certainly showed that he's got some ability. But his run first up, 1400, and just launching late, pulling ground off them was exceptional. So you never know. He might be the next horse to take a big step forward. But I think it's a real showdown. I'm looking forward to it. Could be one of the best races for the entire carnival.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Guineas, and then obviously to the Northerly where he's the favourite at the moment with Bet365, and we all know that 3-year-olds have got a great record in the Northerly. Today, Cobb, we need a winner, Darren McCauley, if that's okay. We're racing at Belmont, 8 races. We might just get your quaddie league. We'll go through the quaddie leagues here at Belmont today. In the first league, Sound of Speeds at $2.40. First up from a break, Sean O'Donnell and Trevor Andrews combine. Who are you tipping here?
Good to see that combination back in a bit of form as well. Sean, it's a remarkable industry, isn't it, racing? Sean, he just couldn't buy a winner for a long time there, and all of a sudden he got onto Luana missing a little prelude of a placid arc and got the money, and he got his confidence up, and you could just see the sense of relief. And then last Saturday he goes there and he wins everything. So racing can turn very quickly, and likewise for Trevor as well. He's got a lovely filly there on his hands. Out of speed is the way I'm going. I loved the trial recently. It was a little 400-metre dash up just to clean the pipes out. One with plenty in hand. Previous effort was a dominant win on rain-affected ground there that particular day down in Bunbury. Picked off its maiden, won it by a good margin. I went back and had a look at its debut run as well, and it was behind Luana Miss, who's now clearly a group winner. And it was a very good effort in that race as well. So I think everything points to Sound of Speed, making it a winning return in the first leg of the quaddie. Gareth, race 5.
Chameleon Miss at $2.70, Belt of Song at $4, Impressive Jewel at $5.50 for Ash Maley. So a few of these horses resuming here. Darren, who do you like in race 6?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit on the thinner side this race. I've gone here with Mickey Lane's Chameleon Miss. She is second up. She ran at the Melbourne Cup meeting down there in Bunbury. I thought that she endured a really, really tough run there in that race. She got caught out there wide, didn't really get any cover, any backup in the run. And I still thought while she got beaten, she was very good. She got exposed. Galloway Shaw nailed her. Second up, I think that she can come here and have a big impact. Beautifully drawn barrier 3, so I'm happy to go with Million Miss, race 6, second leg of the quaddie.
Then we'll go to race number 7. This is the third leg of the quaddie. True Blue Bondi. Looks hard to beat. It's been well supported with Bet365 for S.A. Miller and Willie Pike. Rocket Juice at $6. Ask a Lot at $7.50.
I saw Big Simon Miller lurking around the corridors here.
Yes.
Ian this morning.
Yes.
Doing his little piece. I was taken with the effort of the last lot. Always had a bit of time for this 6-year-old, but he was off the scene for 960-odd days. Really, he had a fairly significant issue. And then he returned to racing. He parked over the speed, 1,200 metres, and he was right there. It was really that lack of match practice that probably told on him in the last bit of that race. I think that if he takes natural improvement with his own natural ability, Alaska Lot at $7.50, I think he might represent a little bit of value there.
Okay.
Don't trust Judas is in the mix there, so Simon's horse, True Blue Bondi. I'm going to go Alaska Lot. I think it'd be nice to see him realise some of his potential. Clearly, his career has been thwarted by a really significant injury, setback, and now that we're seeing him back in action again, let's hope that he holds up and he can continue through the prep.
Time has flown. We've got about a minute left, would you believe? Intoxicating's the favourite in the last at $3.80, and then you go to Fire the Lot that's had good backing at $6.50.
Intoxicating for me. Wide draw, I know, but the horse's form's very good, and I'll mark it down in the last event of the day, number 13, race 8. My best for the day is in race 4, Radiant Light, number 1. Beautiful. I think he brings exceptional form to that 3-year-old.
Race 4, number 1, Radiant Light at $2.30 for the Parnhams. Good on you, Daz. Thanks for that, mate. We'll catch up with you each and every Wednesday for the best from the West. And, we'll preview, of course, and we'll get set for Winterbottom Stakes Day next Wednesday. And also take a look back there at Railway Stakes Day and Sky Racing Guineas Day as well, the WA Guineas meeting. So, looking forward to that. You have a good day. Daz, we'll try and fix your line next time. Thanks for that.
See you back over here someday soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. There's Darren McCauley. That was the best from the West. It's quickly approaching 10:30 on the other side of it. The Cranbourne Cup field has been announced with the barrier draw, so we'll head back to Cameron Luke.